Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining office hours today. We have a great presentation lined up for you all today. Amon is one of our data scientists for all of us, and she has put together some materials and slides regarding our coding language and the Workbench. We do have a few questions that came in through email, and so we'll sprinkle those through as well, but feel free to add questions to the chat as you think of them, and our team will answer them as we can, and we will also ask Amon to speak to some of them as well. So thank you so much, and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen here. Can everybody see my notebook? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. And this is stable, so that's not real data. And so, yeah, as Melissa just said, I thought I would show you some basic things about how to work with R in a Workbench. I know some of you may be familiar with the Workbench, but some of you may be brand new. So I based my presentation on questions and issues that we have been getting from you. So I hope that will be helpful. I will try and go slowly, and feel free to ask any questions. So the first thing that you want to do in a notebook is to install your packages. There are many packages that come installed by default in a notebook for you, and also R has some base packages that you don't need to install, but you will probably come across some that are not available that you need to install. So this would be the basic method for you to install that package. You can do this one package at a time, or you can do this for multiple packages using the list function. Now, what if you're not sure if you already have installed a package and you don't want to reinstall it? There's a way to check it. You can check it for one package using the requirement method. So if it's not installed, it would install it, and if it is, it won't do anything. And you can do this with multiple packages at once, which is very helpful. So now that you have installed your package, you want to call them. If you notice, for the install packages, you have to use the double quotes, but for the library here, to call them in a notebook, you don't need to, or you can, it doesn't matter. Now, there are some tools that you can use to check basic information about your packages, including the versions and the R versions that you're using, and that can be very helpful to help you decide like how to upgrade your packages, or why your code may be throwing some errors when you try to install packages. And DevTools, which is a package that you will need to install if you want to use this, has a method called session info, and it gives you a bunch of information about your R version, including the packages that you have on in your environment, the sources and the versions of those. The default is to give it to all packages and exclude the base packages. But if you want to include the base packages, you can just put here, include base equals true, and it will give you the base packages. You can also do this for one package at a time by using packages equal whatever package that you want. R also has the same session info, so you can just use that, and you won't need the dev tools to do that. I think this is actually more succinct than the dev tool ones. There are also ways that you can check documentation about your package. So you can use the question mark, either 1 and 2. Sometimes 1 doesn't work for some packages. I'm not sure why. So try both. And if you click on it, it should open a window with a bunch of information about the package. And depending on the package, you can have more or less information, but it's usually very thorough. This one, it looks different, and it gives you information about the methods and the functions and description of these functions in the package. You also have the help function that essentially does the same thing, but you may get different documentation here. The last two ones that I want to talk about for package information are available packages and install packages. So available packages will show you the packages that are available on the CRAN repository for install. And it gives you so much information about it. It's a nice matrix for you here. And the install packages will show you the ones that you actually installed. And that can be helpful if you want to see, for example, the dependencies of a package, like the packages that your package needs to be able to work and function properly. Those are the dependencies. And also the R version that is required for the particular package. You can use something like this, or you can create a little data frame. And I will make this, if you guys are interested, I can make this notebook available for you as well, so you can look up and use this code to do what you want to do. So the next step, any questions so far? Okay, the next step after you have installed your packages and loaded in the notebook, you want to query the CDR. And there are a few basic steps that you need to do. First of all, call the dataset variable. You create a variable for it. You do not need to guess which is the most recent CDR. We have that in this environment for you. All you need to is to call it. And the workspace comes with the most recent CDR version for you. And next, you need to download your query into a data frame using a helper function that we have written, and it makes it easier for you. This calls the Google project environment and puts it into a data frame. The next thing, you will write your query and make sure to wrap it into a string wrapper like string glue. And I will show you later what happens if you don't do that. So once you have written your query string, then you just use the function, which is download data, and then you put your query here, the query string, and then you will get whatever you queried, your data. So this is what happens if you don't use a wrapper like string glue. Basically, the data set between the curly bracket will be read as a literal string, and that will, of course, throw an error. And then after that, you can do all the transformations and plot that you need. The next thing that we're going to talk about, and we received quite a few questions about that, is how do you save data in the bucket? Let's say you've done your work for today, you want to save the CSV in the bucket and then come back tomorrow and open it again. How do you do that? Well, I will say 3 words: use the snippet. We have made it really easy for you, so you don't have to go through the steps because there are a few steps involved here. But the snippets that we have are right here at the top. So if you click on snippets and you go to the All of Us R and Cloud Storage snippets, you want to set up the notebook first. Let's see, 1 second. Huh. Maybe it's because I'm in the prod version, but that should give you, that should download. You will receive a code here that will show. Maybe I can go back to what I did before. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, this is what will show when you click on the setup. It will call all the libraries that you need and install the package that you need, create the environment variables that you need, and you just need to run this. And then the next thing you need to do is to, I hope that will work, is to go to the storage snippet and then use the snippet, copy data to workspace. Okay, that works. And this, you have the code that you need to run. So you only need to do 2 things. Change this to whatever the name of your data frame is. In our case, it is DF, like we queried here. It was DF, so we'll leave it as DF. And then the name of the file that you want it to be called. And you put that there, and that's all you do. And then you run this, and it will save it to the bucket under that name, to a folder named data. And this little code here helps you to see, it basically lists all the files in the bucket that are CSV files. So if you have multiple CSV there, it will show here. If you want to only show the specific files that you have with the file name, you can just tap here, remove the asterisk and type test.csv, and then you get only that file. I would advise that you put a timestamp here. Let's say 10:21, 10:15, 21, I don't know, 2 p.m. Put a timestamp here so that if you have multiple versions of the same files, it can help you to track your work. Yes. Now, how do you read it back to the notebook? You go here again, snippets. All of us are in cloud snippets. You click here, copy file to and from bucket, and then this time you will use copy file from the Workbench bucket. So you make sure that this is the name of the file that you want to read, and you just run and it will show your data frame here. This is what was saved, and this is what you're going to need, you're going to use for your future analysis. So the name of your new data frame will be my data frame. Okay, so that's that, to query the CDR and to save your files to and from the bucket. And one more thing that I want to mention, if you only use write CSV, a method in R, it will save it in your current workspace, but this will be wiped out periodically. But the files are then saved in the bucket are not wiped out. So that's why using the snippets will help you to not lose any files. Now we got some specific questions about how do you calculate age in R and SQL, or age at a specific event. So I wrote this query to show you how you can do this. This is a simple way to do that. To calculate age, you can use a date diff function of SQL, and basically you put whatever events from which you want to calculate the age, and then the birth date of the person. And you choose, since we want age, it's going to be in year. Make sure you wrap your field in the date function, because otherwise date diff only recognize dates, not date times. So this will convert this field into date, and then you will get your age as a year. If you want something more granular, for whatever reason, you can use a timestamp diff, and then you can choose something like hour, and this does accept date times field. So once you have done that, this is how you calculate the age. Now, how about age at a specific condition? What you want to do is to go to the concept table, and then you join that concept table with the concept occurrence, since we're talking about a condition here. And I quickly looked up on Athena what was the concept ID for the tumor of breast, and that was this one. So you join the concept and concept occurrence on concept ID equals condition concept ID, where your concept ID equals whatever condition you're looking for. And then there's an extra join here that you need because the date time is in the person table, but you have the condition start date time in the condition table. So you need both here. And then, yeah, you can add any extra conditions that you want. I put here age between 30 and 50. And you run, and you should get the age at breast cancer in this case. And then do whatever plots or analysis that you need. Any questions so far? Okay, the next thing I wanted to address was some general tips for when you have issues installing a package. We got a few questions about that. And if you've been using R, any language for any length of time, you will get package installment issues. So first thing you need to check is the package name that you're using in your install.packages correct? Because I won't tell you, hey, this package doesn't exist. It will just tell you the package doesn't exist for your current version. But it's because you misspelled the name. So make sure the name is correct. If the name is correct, then the next thing I would do is to check if the package is available. Where's the location? Is it on crane.org or is it on GitHub? If it is on crane.org, it shouldn't throw an error, but to be safe, you can just use the same method, but specify the link where the package is. Sometimes that fixes the issues. If it is on GitHub, then you need to use the GitHub method to install it from the dev tools. And you will need to identify the library where the package is. And you can easily find it if you do a quick Google search of the package. Now, if that still doesn't work, then your R version may not match the R version that is required for the package. Sometimes the packages require an earlier version than what you have, or a later version than what you have. You can use session info to check that and to see if those match. And then you will need to either update your R or downgrade it. Sometimes it happens when you need to downgrade the R to use with a specific package. But I would say that be careful with downgrading or updating, because that might cause issues with other packages. But usually when you update your R, then it fixes a lot of the issues that you may have. Now, another thing, if you're downloading your package because you only need one function in there, you don't need the whole thing, and it keeps giving you problems, please go and look if you can find the same function in other packages. There's so many packages on crane.org and GitHub that I'm sure, like, rare are the cases where you cannot absolutely find a function in another package that you need for what you're doing. So go look it up and try if using that function can work. For example, I think we got a question about, is it the Brent function from a package? That is actually, the Brent function is actually part of another package called Brent. And it specifically says that you can use it with your mass model. So that would be a good way to work around it if you, for some reason, you're having problem with that particular function. And then the last thing is, it's possible that the package is just outdated and not maintained. That's why it keeps giving you problem. In that case, I think it's best to not use it. Try and find another package, because if it's not maintained, it will cause you a lot of problems down the line, even if you did successfully install it. So these are the tips that I will give you for installments of packages. And then last but not least, we have some fantastic resources for you that our team has worked hard to put together. So if you have some questions that are still lingering, you probably will find answers in one of these tools. So since we're still in the Workbench, let me show you some of the other snippets that we have quickly. We have snippets for basic operations in R, like joining data frame, summarizing data frame, and even age calculations. We have some plot measurements for you. Also how to summarize survey data. We have, as we just saw, the storage snippets, and we also have SQL and R snippets. Even if you don't see something that matches a use case or a project that you're working on, it's helpful to look through this, because you might see a way that something is coded that actually helps you to complete your project, even if it's not the same kind of project. So yeah, if you have time, just look through those and see there's something that's going to be helpful there for you. Now we also have, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and share another screen here. So we also have our featured workspaces. So if you go here, you click here, you will see home, your workspace, and feature workspaces. And we have tutorial workspaces that walk you through how to install the packages, how to load them, and how to query specific data types like physical measurements, survey data, wearable data. And this one is a basic walkthrough how to work with the registered data. We have demonstration projects. This one is really helpful. It shows you how to get descriptive statistics. There are some very cool plots there. You have demos for specific use cases here. all of those can help you. And then we have a phenotype library as well. So if you have time, just look through these as well. And then another thing, we have our user support hub. So if you click on that, you've got a bunch of resources, ask questions, you have a forum. But what I wanted to show you was the documentation, since we're talking about programming in R. So if you click on documentation and you go to research a workbench and data science resources, there's a lot of information here. If you click on Jupyter Notebooks and programming, you have free resources here on how to use Jupyter Notebooks, on lessons on programming with Python, R, or SQL, and various other things that if you're trying to just sharpen your R skills, this will be definitely something that you want to look into. And then also, as always, you're free to submit specific questions to our team, specific coding issues, and we're usually pretty good at getting you answers fast. So yeah, that's all I had for you today. And I'm going to open it up for questions.
Eamon, we do have a question in the chat from Matthew asking about if R Stata is the easiest way to run Stata within R.
I am not sure. What type of project are you working on, or what kind of data are you trying to run?
Hi, so the data is on a protected server and it's on R, so it's unable to be withdrawn in like a CSV file or a Stata file. So I was wondering if there was a way to implement R, Stata within R, and I found this package and I've been running into some issues actually getting my Stata to connect with it. So I didn't know if you had any suggestions on the easiest way to integrate R and Stata.
Okay.
Since I can't take the data off of R, or should I just try, is it just easier to try to do all the analysis in R?
I would say yes, the later option, and I'm not very familiar with Stata, so I can't give you, I kind of know, I don't want to give you a wrong answer. So I would say it would be easier to work with, yeah, somebody suggested how about SAS, to do it in R, but maybe you can submit your question and I can look more into it. Maybe there's a way to do that and we just need to think about it more. Yes, so Melissa, I'll put a link there. Thank you.
Is Farday on the call today? I think I see you. Yes. Would you like to talk through your questions that you sent via email today?
Sure. It's the question that I have is that how to join these data frames, because I have, when you select your cohort and then you go and select some variables from different concept sets, then I end up to have 3 different data sets that will be exported to Jupyter Notebook. Then I have the problem of kind of putting them together in order to create a single data set so that I can work with that. But then in order to do that, I need to change, because the data for the information that I have collected from surveys are in a long format. So I have to change it into a wide format before I can kind of merge them all together. And that's where I have a lot of problem. I end up to seeing a lot of rows, which doesn't make sense to me. And I was wondering if you can kind of give me where I can go and get help in order to do this in R.
Yeah, so you're saying multiple data sets, that's normal because you basically have as many data sets as you have concept sets selected. And that is because just the data shape is different for these two. Some have 1 rows per data per person, the demographics, and then for the EHR, for example, they have multiple rows per person. So I would say you can use, there are functions in R that you can use to pivot your data in a long format. And then you can merge it after that. That will help you with those duplicate rows that you're seeing. But maybe the easiest way, it's hard for me to tell without looking at your actual code. But basically, I would say try and finish whatever analysis or try to summarize both data frame as much as possible before pivoting them and joining them. And then when you merge, depending on what you need, you might want to do an inner merge. Also, yeah, it's hard for me to tell without looking at your data.
Okay.
But yeah, is that helpful at all? You can also submit. Melissa, is that right? You can submit the code and we can look at it.
Yeah, and we have also a featured workspace that Francis gave that's in the user support hub from May 28th. So you might want to take a look at that. And we can link that as well. But that goes step by step through joining tables. And that might help if you're able to like pause it and follow along that way too. But yeah, feel free to submit your questions to the help desk. It's that support@researchallofus.org, or just clicking the submit button for a question in the user support hub. And then what we'll do is work with Amon and Francis to get your question answered.
Okay, yeah, I'm new to R. I mainly use SAS, and that was I questioned that can I use SAS within R? But the can I use join? I mean, when I it in R, instead of merging them all together and create a single data set, just work with them by using join. Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible.
Okay.
Have you tried that? Yeah, just try it, and also, yeah, submit to us the code and we can help you since you're not familiar with R. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and then I just got another. Oh yeah, RS data. We talked about that. That we cannot use that one in the platform, right? Okay.
Not right now.
Just clarification for that. Okay. Any other questions from the group while we have Amon?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering with the office hours videos, is there an example where he shows how to like pivot the data from like long to wide format with SAS?
With SAS?
Yes. Because I've tried it with R and I've like tried like 3 different methods, but they all they work really slow.
Yeah. I do not use SAS, and I don't think you can use SAS in the Workbench right now, as we just said. But there's a function. What methods have you tried with R?
So one of the methods that I've tried is this it's like a pivot wider function. And that one takes a while. And then I tried using like a for loop. Two different types of for loops. So the first one I used like I don't know how to state it, but I had like a dij, like it was kind of more of a matrix within the for loop. And then the second one I used like a vectorized solution because I looked it up and that was supposed to be a little bit faster. But all of them take like a while.
That shouldn't, it's not normal. So I would say before you even try to pivot, is there a way you can summarize the data further? Do you have duplicate rows in there that you're not aware of?
Do I have duplicates?
Duplicate rows in your data before you try to pivot it.
Oh, yeah. So basically what I did was like I'm working with like the CLPE data. And so basically what I did was I created like, I guess like the unique rows are based on both the person and when they took the survey, the like survey version. So I don't think that the issue is that there's like duplicates, because whenever I run one sample where I, so like whenever I run, sorry, having a hard time describing this a little bit. So whenever I run one sample where I try to like fill in the like theoretical like cell, I guess, right, with the data, it takes like a few seconds. And so if I have like a million cells to fill in, 3 seconds turns into like, it's quite a bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not sure why this would be. I've run the pivot wider on very large data sets, and it didn't take that long. Yeah. So I'm not sure why that's taking long. I can't help you with SAS, but I can help you with finding out other ways that you can do your pivot faster, if that's going to be helpful in R.
Okay.
If you want to update your ticket, just send your workspace name, or Amon, is it okay if he adds you as a reader? Yes. Just so that you can see what he's working on, and then that way we can maybe help facilitate a solution for you. Yeah, I think that. Or also, if you, while we're talking here, if you want to spin up your workspace, you're more than welcome to do that too. I'll just stop the recording so we don't share any participant information.
Okay, yeah, I can share it real quick.
Okay.
I have it open actually. So
okay, let me stop recording real quick.